Have you ever looked back and wondered if she liked you, but you just didn't see it? That one moment, that one conversation, it plays in your head now and then, and something about it feels unfinished. You didn't act, you didn't say anything, and now you're stuck with a question you can't answer. The truth is, most of us don't miss opportunities because we don't care. We miss them because deep down, we don't believe we're enough. We convince ourselves we were imagining things, that we misread her, that someone like her couldn't possibly feel something real for someone like us. And that lie, that quiet, constant lie, is what keeps so many people from ever experiencing the kind of connection they deserve. Attraction isn't a mystery. It's not reserved for a chosen few. It's real, it's emotional, and more often than not, it's happening right in front of you. But here's what no one tells you. Women rarely say exactly what they feel, not because they're hiding it, but because they've been taught to protect their hearts. She won't always say, "I like you." She'll say something else, something small, something you might miss, unless you know what to hear. And once you do, everything changes. What seemed invisible becomes obvious. What seemed complicated becomes clear. You'll finally stop second-guessing, because you'll understand the emotional cues that matter most. This isn't about playing games, it's about being awake, being present, being the kind of man who doesn't wait for permission to believe in his worth. Because here's the hard truth. The connection you want, the love, the respect, the passion, it will not show up in your life until you start seeing yourself as someone worth receiving it. And when you do, you'll be amazed at what's been trying to get through to you all along. The signs have always been there. She said them, maybe quietly, maybe with a smile, maybe in a way that made you hesitate, but she said them, and you deserve to hear them now with clarity and confidence. In this video, you're going to discover 5 powerful phrases a woman says when she genuinely likes you. Not casually, not out of politeness, but with intention. These are emotional cues rooted in trust, curiosity, and desire. And once you recognize them, you'll stop wondering and start knowing. You'll begin to move differently, with quiet confidence, not arrogance, with presence, not pressure, and most importantly, with the ability to build something real. So if you've ever felt like you were one step behind, like you missed your moment, or like love keeps slipping just out of reach, stay with me. Because what you're about to learn will not only help you recognize when a woman likes you, it will help you become the kind of man who sees it, believes it, and does something about it. And that's the moment your story really begins. Maybe the truth is, you've heard these phrases before, but you didn't believe they were meant for you. Maybe you shrugged them off, smiled politely, and walked away, carrying the weight of invisible doubt. Because deep down, you weren't just questioning her, you were questioning yourself. When you don't feel like you're enough, even genuine affection feels like a mistake. You think she probably says that to everyone. You tell yourself it was nothing, but something inside you wondered, something lingered, and that voice, the one that whispered maybe, wasn't wrong. It was your intuition trying to wake you up. But doubt is louder, doubt is familiar, doubt keeps you comfortable, and comfort is where confidence dies. Most men don't lack chances. They lack clarity. They lack the belief that a woman's warmth could actually be for them. So they ignore it, not out of arrogance, but out of fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of making it awkward, fear of being too much. But here's what's real. When a woman likes you, she doesn't need you to be perfect. She just needs you to be present. She needs you to hear her, to see the quiet invitations behind her words. And those words are rarely loud. They're gentle, casual, wrapped in normal conversation, but carrying the weight of something much deeper. And unless you believe you deserve connection, you'll miss them every time. You weren't meant to live your life wondering what could have been. You weren't meant to carry the burden of moments you didn't act on. That hesitation doesn't make you broken. It means you've been protecting yourself. But the walls that keep you safe also keep love out. If you want to recognize when a woman truly likes you, you have to stop waiting for certainty and start trusting your presence. Stop measuring your worth based on outcomes. A woman can only connect with the version of you that's fully here, not the one overthinking, not the one doubting. The one who listens with his eyes, who speaks with intention, who values his energy enough to believe that someone else could too. You don't need to become someone else to be seen. You don't need lines or tricks. You need awareness. You need belief. You need to start showing up like someone worth choosing, because you are. And when you do, those subtle phrases, the ones she says with a laugh, a glance, a pause, they'll hit different. You'll recognize them not as random words, but as signals, as chances, as truth. This is where everything begins to shift, where you stop needing constant reassurance, where you learn to read between the lines because you finally started reading your own worth clearly. You become the kind of man who no longer misses signs because he no longer misses himself. The doubt fades, the connection grows, and slowly the world around you begins to reflect the belief that's been waiting inside you all along. There's a reason you felt confused before, a reason why moments that seemed clear in hindsight felt uncertain in real time. It's because most of what truly matters isn't spoken directly. Attraction lives in the subtle. It speaks in gestures, in tones, in words that sound simple but carry weight. And the deeper truth is this: most people never learn to hear that language. Not because they can't, but because they're too focused on being enough instead of being present. When your mind is busy trying to prove your value, you miss the ways value is already being given to you. She's not looking for perfection. She's not even looking for performance. What she's really searching for is resonance. That feeling of, he gets it, he sees me. And when you start to live from that space of presence, everything shifts. One of the clearest signals she'll ever give you might come wrapped in a phrase you've heard before, but never truly understood. You're not like other guys. At first, it sounds harmless, maybe even flattering. But look deeper. That phrase is a message. It's an admission. It means you've disrupted a pattern, that in a world full of sameness, you've made her feel something different. And that difference is powerful, because women don't say this to just anyone. They say it when you stand out not for what you do, but for how you make them feel. She's noticed something in your presence, your calm, your honesty, your groundedness. And now she's opening the door, just a little, to see if you'll notice what she's really saying. Don't ignore it. Don't downplay it. Don't toss it aside like it means nothing. That phrase is her taking a step toward you emotionally. She's saying, I'm comparing you, and you're winning. Not in a competition, but in emotional depth, in character, in safety. She's saying she's beginning to feel something she doesn't feel often: trust. That phrase is a test, but not one you pass with charm. You pass it by holding your center, by letting her know she's not wrong for feeling that. You don't need to make a big statement. You don't need to suddenly perform confidence. You just need to be steady, attentive, present, because when you accept that moment without shrinking from it, you show her something rare. A man who knows who he is and knows how to hold space for who she is. This is how real connection begins, not with grand gestures, not with rehearsed lines, but with quiet recognition, with unspoken understanding, with a phrase that opens a window into her heart and a response that tells her she's safe to keep it open. So the next time you hear it, and you will, don't doubt it. Don't question your worth. Just look her in the eyes, feel your own presence, and let her feel seen, because you are different. And now you believe it too. There's something powerful about being seen without needing to perform. When she says something as simple as, I feel like I can talk to you about anything, what she's really expressing isn't about conversation. It's about safety. It's about how your presence makes her feel. Calm, open, unguarded. In a world that constantly demands masks, she's found a space where she can take hers off. And that space is you. Don't mistake this for small talk. Don't confuse her openness with randomness. When a woman begins to trust you with her thoughts, her doubts, her dreams, even in passing, she is showing you something deeper than attraction. She's showing you access, emotional access. And that is never given lightly. Most men crave connection, but they overlook the most important signal of all: emotional intimacy. When she feels like she can talk to you about anything, she's not just saying the words. She's checking to see if you know how to hold them. She's watching to see if you listen with your whole self, or if you drift into judgment or indifference. Because here's what matters. Women remember how you made them feel in moments of vulnerability. Not how smooth you were, not how much you impressed them, but how safe you made their truth feel. When she feels like she can talk to you, she's inviting you into her world, not the version she shows everyone, the real one. And that means she sees something in you she respects, something rare. Too many people miss this moment. They respond on the surface. They laugh it off. They change the subject. Not because they don't care, but because they don't realize they're standing in a sacred moment, one that could build a bridge far stronger than any compliment or flirtation. If you can hold her openness without shrinking, without rushing, without trying to fix, you unlock something few ever do: real connection, real trust, real intimacy. Not the kind that's loud and flashy, but the kind that grows in silence and respect. So when she says that phrase, feel what she's really giving you. She's giving you her time, her trust, her unguarded self, and if you're wise enough to hold that moment, it changes everything. You become the one she confides in, the one she seeks out, not because you demand her attention, but because you earn her respect. And that is worth more than any surface-level attraction. You don't need to force connection. You need to recognize it. When a woman tells you she feels she can talk to you about anything, she's handing you something delicate. Don't look away. Don't rush past it. Sit in it. Respect it. And most of all, honor what you've built by being the kind of man who listens, not just with ears, but with presence. Because that's the kind of man who's remembered. That's the kind of man who's chosen. When she says, "I was thinking about you," don't brush it off like it's casual. That phrase holds far more than just words. It's not about filling space or being polite. It's a quiet reveal, a moment of truth wrapped in simplicity. Because for someone to cross your mind without prompt, without reason, means something moved inside them, something real. In a world overloaded with noise, attention is currency. And when she chooses to give you hers without needing anything back, it means you're living in her thoughts in a way that feels safe, intriguing, and meaningful. That matters more than you think. Many people crave attention but misunderstand its depth. Surface-level interest is easy to find, but when someone admits you were in their mind when you weren't around, that's emotional weight. That's resonance. It means your presence left a mark. It means who you are is enough to exist in her inner world, even when you're not physically there. And that's not an accident. That's attraction on a deeper level, not just to your appearance, but to your energy, your character, your essence. When a woman says she was thinking about you, she's saying you made her feel something she remembered, and that memory brought you back to her, without effort, without force. Most men don't know how to receive this. They downplay it, joke it off, change the subject. Because somewhere along the way they were taught not to trust good things, not to lean into moments of affection. But that mindset will keep you disconnected. If you can't receive emotional truth, you can't build emotional connection. If she tells you she was thinking about you, hear it. Not just with your ears, but with your heart. Hear what it really means. That you matter. That you impacted her. That in a moment of stillness, your presence returned to her mind. And that matters. This isn't about being flattered. This is about being present enough to understand how rare it is for someone to carry you in their thoughts without needing anything from you. That's emotional generosity. That's a woman showing interest in the quietest and most vulnerable way. And it's up to you to rise to that moment, to honor it. Not by trying to impress her or prove yourself, but by meeting her where she is, with honesty, with warmth, with grounded presence. You don't need to guess if she's interested when you know how to listen. You don't need to chase what's already reaching out to you. She said it. She gave you a window into her heart. Not with a grand gesture, but with a phrase so simple most would miss it. Don't be most. Be the man who sees it, who hears it, who responds with the quiet confidence of someone who finally understands. When a woman says she was thinking about you, she's already inviting you closer. Now it's on you to step through that open door. There's a moment that catches you off guard, a phrase that seems harmless, but speaks volumes when you truly hear it. When she says, "I feel better when I'm around you," she's not complimenting your presence. She's revealing how it transforms her. That's not about fun. That's not about distraction. That's about healing. Because in a world that constantly pulls her in 100 directions, where she's expected to hold everything together and still smile, feeling better around you is not ordinary. It's rare. And it means something powerful. You are a place of peace in a world of pressure. That phrase is emotional truth disguised as simplicity. She may not even realize the weight of what she's saying, but your job is to feel it, to honor it, not with words, but with awareness. Understand what it means to be the person who makes someone else feel grounded, feel seen, feel lighter. You didn't do it by accident. It happened because of how you show up, because of your energy, your calm, your presence that doesn't demand, doesn't pressure, doesn't perform. And when she says she feels better around you, it means you've already passed 1,000 invisible tests, tests of patience, tests of authenticity, tests of emotional depth. She trusts who you are when all the noise fades. Many people spend their whole lives trying to be exciting, loud, impressive. But what she truly values is ease, safety, someone who doesn't add to the weight she already carries. You can be that person not by trying harder, but by being more real, by being consistent, by being solid in a world that constantly shifts. If your presence feels like peace to her, you are no longer just another person. You're a refuge. And that kind of connection can't be faked. It can't be forced. it's felt. You have to realize how rare that is. Not just to be liked, but to be the reason someone breathes easier. That's not small. That's not something to overlook. It's a sign you've built something real, without needing validation, without needing control. You became that feeling through how you carry yourself, through how you listen, through how you make her feel accepted without expectation. And that's what creates lasting connection. Not attraction that burns fast and fades, but comfort that deepens over time. So when she tells you she feels better around you, don't rush past it. Sit in it. Let it land. She's telling you in the clearest way she knows that your energy has already made a difference in her life. That being near you changes how she feels about herself, even if only for a moment. And that kind of impact is rare. It's powerful, and it's real. Don't chase the noise. Don't chase the show. Be the presence she can return to, not just when things are good, but when life feels heavy. Because if you can be that for her, she'll never forget you, and she'll never want to lose you. When she says, "I wish you were here," it's more than a phrase. It's a window into her longing. It's not just about missing someone. It's about missing you, your presence, your energy, the way she feels safer, lighter, more alive when you're near. Those words carry vulnerability, but also clarity, because in that moment, she's not searching for distraction. She's not reaching out for attention. She's allowing herself to express something real. She's saying your absence is felt, and that, more than anything, shows how deeply you've begun to matter. This isn't about being wanted for convenience. This is about being remembered in silence. When a woman says she wishes you were there, she's not simply stating a thought. She's revealing an emotion that her environment can't soothe. That feeling of something's missing isn't just about your voice or your touch. It's about the emotional weight you carry without trying, the unspoken comfort you bring, or the security that comes with your presence. And when she admits that, it means she sees you as more than just someone she enjoys. It means you've become someone she leans toward when she needs grounding. Too often, men overlook the power of this moment. They treat it like flirtation or casual affection. But it's much deeper. She's giving you evidence of impact, emotional impact, and that is never random. If she wishes you were there, it's because something about you changes how she experiences the world. Your presence isn't noise, it's harmony. It settles her. It gives her room to breathe. And she's telling you that even without asking. This is where you must lean in, not with performance, but with awareness. Don't dismiss it. Don't rush to respond with jokes or empty words. Feel what she's truly saying. She's not just asking for your presence. She's sharing the way you live in her heart, even when you're far away. She's opening the emotional space for you, giving you access not just to her time, but to her solitude. That's where real connection lives. In the space where no one is watching, no one is trying, and the truth rises naturally. The power of this phrase isn't in its volume, it's in its timing. It's when she's alone with her thoughts and you're the one who enters them. Not because you ask to, but because something in her longs for what only you bring. That's the kind of presence no one can fake. That's the kind of connection built on trust, respect, and emotional resonance. So when you hear her say it, don't hear it lightly. Let it remind you of the space you've created in her world. A space she wants filled not by anyone, but by you. And that's your cue to show up not just physically, but emotionally, with presence, with warmth, with consistency. Because being missed by someone real, that's not just a compliment, it's a calling. Now it's on you to answer it, fully, quietly, powerfully. When she says, "You make me feel safe," she is not offering a compliment, she is handing you her trust. In a world that often asks women to shrink, to be cautious, to keep their guard up, that statement is a form of emotional surrender. It means she can finally breathe. It means her nervous system stops bracing. It means she can rest, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That kind of safety doesn't come from dominance, it comes from presence, from consistency, from how you show up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. Safety is more than just protection from harm. It is the quiet confidence that you will not become a source of confusion. It is the inner peace that tells her she doesn't have to second-guess your words, your intentions, or your energy. When a woman feels safe with you, she allows herself to feel. She allows her softness to exist without fear of it being used against her. She lets go of the armor that the world taught her to wear. And when that happens, something extraordinary unfolds. Connection without tension, presence without pretense, love without fear. So many chase excitement, but what they don't realize is that real intimacy is rooted in safety. It is not found in adrenaline or performance, but in steadiness. It is built through listening when she is silent, through honoring her emotions when they don't make sense to you, through respecting her boundaries without needing to be told twice. She remembers these things. Her body remembers these things. When she says you make her feel safe, she is saying she doesn't have to be in fight or flight when she's near you. That is the highest praise a woman can offer because it is the rarest gift she gives. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being grounded. It's about being someone whose energy doesn't spike with insecurity or shift with circumstance. It's about being calm, even when things get complicated. That's when she'll lean in. That's when she'll soften, not because you asked her to, but because she feels the gravity of who you are. Real men don't chase power. They create space. And in that space, women feel safe enough to grow, to bloom, to be. There is no shortcut to this. It cannot be faked, manipulated, or manufactured. Either you are safe or you are not. Either your presence offers stability or it doesn't. The difference is in the smallest details. How you speak, how you listen, how you respond when she is vulnerable. And when she says you make her feel safe, she is telling you the truth about how you've already impacted her life. She's saying, I can be myself here. And that kind of permission is sacred. You don't need to do more. You need to be more. Steady, honest, present. When she feels safe with you, she's not just interested, she's invested. And that is where everything begins to change. When she says, I can talk to you about anything, it's not just a statement about conversation. It's a declaration of emotional access. It means the walls she built to protect herself have lowered, not because she was forced, but because she feels seen. That phrase reveals more than comfort. It shows trust. It shows the emotional doors that are normally locked are now open for you. She doesn't say it lightly. She says it when she senses you won't judge her for being honest, for being messy, for being real. And in a world that constantly demands her perfection, your acceptance becomes the oxygen she didn't know she was missing. Most people listen to reply. Few listen to understand. When she says she can talk to you about anything, what she's really saying is this: you make me feel like I don't have to hide. That's not just rare, it's sacred, because everyone wears masks. Everyone protects pieces of themselves. But when she starts removing hers, it's not for show. It's because your presence has become a space where she can be human without apology. It's because your energy doesn't rush to fix, criticize, or redirect. You allow her thoughts to breathe. And that to her feels like safety on a level most people never reach. To create that kind of space, you don't need all the answers. You just need to stay open. You need to be consistent. You need to be grounded enough in yourself that her feelings don't scare you, threaten you, or push you away. Because the moment she feels she has to censor herself, the moment she senses your discomfort, that door begins to close. But when you hold space without flinching, when you show up without needing her to be anything other than exactly who she is, something changes. She lets you into the places she usually keeps hidden. And once you're there, you become unforgettable. There's no performance in this, no strategy, just presence. Just a quiet confidence that says, whatever you're feeling, you can bring it here. That kind of connection doesn't rely on attraction. It's built on emotional safety, mutual respect, and shared truth. And once she feels it, she will return to you. Not because she has to, but because she wants to. Not because you've impressed her, but because you've understood her. So when she says she can talk to you about anything, recognize the weight of those words. They mean you've already earned something most men chase without ever finding. You've become a sanctuary. You've become a mirror where she can see herself clearly and still feel accepted. And that's not a small thing. That's everything. Stay steady. Stay open. Let her speak. And really listen. Because when she trusts you with her voice, she's trusting you with her heart. And there is no deeper connection than that. When she says, you always make me smile, she isn't just talking about jokes or moments of laughter. She's revealing how your presence shifts her emotional state. That phrase is a signal that your energy has become medicine. It means that when you walk into the room, physically or emotionally, her world feels lighter, her body relaxes, her heart opens. That smile isn't just reaction, it's release. And it's deeply tied to something more powerful than humor. It's tied to how you make her feel safe to enjoy herself, safe to experience joy without conditions. Joy is not something people give away easily. It's guarded, especially in a world where vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness. But when she smiles because of you, there's trust wrapped in that moment. A silent message saying, with you, I feel free. It's not about entertainment. It's about emotional chemistry. It's about resonance. You've become a source of peace in a world that constantly demands her attention, her performance, her control. With you, she can let go, even for a second. And that second matters more than you may ever realize. That smile is a reward for your presence. Not what you say, not what you do, but how you are. It's your calm, your steadiness, your timing, your ability to notice her when others don't. She smiles because something in her lights up when you're near. Something feels right. And it's not because you're trying hard. It's because you're aligned. Aligned with authenticity. Aligned with presence. Aligned with who you are beneath the surface. She doesn't need perfection from you. She needs real. She needs connection. And that smile is the mirror reflecting the connection you've created. Understand this. When she feels joy around you, she connects that emotion to your identity. Your face becomes a symbol of ease. Your name becomes a trigger for comfort. That's how bonds form. That's how trust deepens. And that's how hearts begin to open. Not through big gestures, but through small consistencies. When she says you always make her smile, she's telling you you've become her bright spot, her safe space, her reason to exhale. And that is a rare and powerful thing to be in someone's life. But don't let it stop there. Use it as motivation. Motivation to keep showing up with clarity, to keep holding space with patience, to keep honoring her emotions without trying to fix or mold them. Because the smile is not the goal, it's the evidence. The real goal is presence, connection, resonance. And when those exist, the smile follows naturally. It becomes the byproduct of something deeper, something you've earned not with charm, but with character. So when she tells you that you make her smile, believe her. But more importantly, value that smile, protect it, respect it, be the reason it stays. Because in that simple expression, she's already told you everything without needing to say anything else. When she says, "I was thinking about you," it may sound casual, but the weight it carries is anything but light. Those words are not random. They are intentional. They reflect the truth that your presence has lingered in her mind beyond the moment. You didn't fade when the conversation ended. You stayed with her, in her thoughts, in her emotions, in the quiet spaces where distractions can't hide the truth. This simple phrase is not just about curiosity. It's about impact. It's about the way you've rooted yourself into her awareness without force, without demand, just by being who you are. She doesn't say that to everyone. She says it when the space you create lives on, even in your absence. It means you've crossed the invisible line between a passing interaction and a meaningful connection. It's the psychological echo of your energy resonating with hers. And that resonance cannot be faked. It's earned through presence, through patience, through showing up consistently, not to impress, but to connect. When she thinks about you, it means you've become part of the dialogue she has with herself. That's rare, and it's sacred. To be thought of is to be felt. It means something you said mattered, something you did lingered, something about your energy was worth returning to, even when you weren't there to remind her. That's the kind of connection people spend their lives searching for, one that isn't loud but lives quietly in the background, influencing the way someone sees their day. And when she tells you she's been thinking about you, she's opening a door. Or she's inviting you into that private mental space. That's trust, that's vulnerability, that's a signal that her guard is softening and her heart is listening. You don't need to overanalyze it. You don't need to respond with cleverness or charm. You just need to feel what she's saying underneath the words. She's letting you know you're not forgettable. She's revealing that your existence means something to her, even in the quiet. And that's not something you receive often in this world. Real, raw acknowledgement without performance. Now ask yourself, what kind of presence creates that effect? It's not surface-level confidence or fast words. It's depth, integrity, authenticity. It's how you make her feel when you're not even trying to be anything but present. That's the kind of energy that sticks. That's the kind of man who lives in a woman's mind, not because he forced his way in, but because she welcomed him there. So when she says she was thinking about you, take that seriously. Not as validation, but as a mirror, a reflection of how your presence is shaping her emotional world. She doesn't need a perfect man. She needs a real one. Someone who leaves a quiet impact. Someone whose energy speaks even in silence. Be that man. Because when you are, her thoughts won't just include you. They'll begin to revolve around you. When she says, "I feel like I can be myself around you," she's not just describing comfort. She's identifying liberation. That phrase is a window into something few people ever truly experience. Freedom in connection. the freedom to exist without judgment, the freedom to breathe without filters, the freedom to speak, stumble, laugh, and cry without fear of being less than enough. In a world that constantly pressures her to be polished, to be pleasing, to be perfect, being able to be herself is one of the most intimate forms of peace she can find. And if she feels that with you, understand what you've given her: emotional safety. And that's everything. She's not saying you complete her. She's saying you accept her. All of her. The strength and the softness, the confidence and the insecurity, the dreams and the doubts. You don't try to change her or put her in a box. You let her unfold. And in that unfolding, she finds herself not through your validation, but through your presence. You're not fixing her, you're witnessing her. That's powerful, that's rare. And it means you've touched her life in a way that doesn't fade when the moment ends. When she says she can be herself, she's showing you that you've reached the core of what makes human connection transformative. This isn't about attraction anymore, it's about alignment. Emotional alignment, energy alignment. The kind of alignment that doesn't need to be spoken to be felt. And once it's felt, it becomes unforgettable. You've created a space where she doesn't have to perform. She doesn't have to guard her truth or suppress her essence. Around you, her truth is welcomed. Around you, her soul can breathe. And here's the deeper truth. When a woman feels safe enough to be herself, she grows. She evolves. Because safety is the soil where authenticity blooms. You've become more than a presence. You've become a catalyst, someone who reflects her truth back to her, not with judgment, but with reverence. And in that reflection, she becomes stronger, lighter, more alive. Not because of dependency, but because of alignment. You've met her where she is, and now she can rise from that place. That's not just emotional intimacy, it's transformational presence. But this kind of presence requires more than silence. It requires intentional stillness. It requires you to choose understanding over control, presence over pressure, patience over pride. When you lead with those qualities, you don't just earn a place in her life. You earn a place in her growth. And there's no deeper connection than that. So when she looks at you and says she feels like she can be herself, recognize what that means. You've become the mirror that doesn't distort her, the space that doesn't shrink her, the connection that doesn't confine her. You've become the rarest thing of all, a place where she is both held and free. Be that place. Protect it. Because once she finds it, she never forgets it. When she says, "I miss you," she's not simply recalling your presence. She's revealing that your absence leaves a space nothing else can fill. It's not just about time spent together. It's about emotional imprint. It's about the way your energy lingers in her mind and her body long after you've left. That phrase, simple as it sounds, means you've become part of her internal world. She doesn't just enjoy your company, she notices when it's gone. And that noticing is rooted in something deeper than attraction. It's rooted in connection, in meaning, in presence. You can only be missed when your presence has created peace, when your words have offered clarity, when your energy has brought calm to her chaos. And if she misses you, it means you've become more than a passing thought. You've become a source of alignment, a source of security, a source of emotional grounding that's difficult to replace. Most people walk in and out of lives without ever truly being felt. But when she tells you she misses you, she's telling you that your presence felt like home. She's not missing you out of loneliness. She's missing you because when you were there, something inside her felt understood. She felt seen, supported, safe. And when that feeling leaves, it doesn't go unnoticed. Her mind keeps searching for it. Her heart keeps reaching for it. That's why missing someone is more than just a thought. It's an ache, a pull, a longing for emotional closeness that transcends distance. That only happens when what you gave her was real. Not surface level, not artificial, but grounded and true. Think about that. You don't need to impress her. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. So present that when you're no longer there, the echo of your attention still fills the silence. That's the kind of impact that lasts. That's what makes the difference between a moment and a memory. You become the moment she returns to in her quiet hours. You become the energy she compares others to. You become the experience that reminds her what depth really feels like. Missing someone isn't weakness. It's recognition. It means she's aware of the space you fill, the balance you bring, the way your presence softens her edges and makes her feel more grounded in herself. When she says she misses you, don't brush it off. Lean in. Feel the depth behind the words. Understand the responsibility that comes with being someone she reaches for when you're not around. That responsibility isn't pressure, it's purpose. If she misses you, you've been given a place in her inner world. And the only way to keep that place is to keep showing up with the same energy that earned it. Be consistent. Be steady. Be real. Because when a woman opens up that space in her heart, she's not asking for perfection. She's asking for presence. And when you give her that, she won't just miss you. She'll cherish you. When she says, "I was thinking about you," she's opening a door most people keep closed. She's telling you that somewhere in her day, through the noise, the pressure, the endless stream of thoughts, you stood out. Not just as a memory, but as a moment that stayed. You weren't just passing through her mind. You stayed long enough to be noticed, and that matters. Because people only think deeply about what emotionally moves them. You don't linger in someone's thoughts unless you've touched something real inside them. It's more than words. It's a sign of emotional relevance. It's proof that your energy made an impact. That your presence has taken root not just in her awareness, but in her attention. Attention is sacred. In a world that pulls us in 1,000 directions, for someone to stop and think about you means you've carved space inside them. Space that holds weight. Space that matters. That phrase is her way of saying, you're not just someone she talks to, you're someone she feels. And it's not always about what you said. It's about how you made her feel. Your voice, your presence, your way of listening or showing up, it left a mark, a good one. One that made her mind return to you, not out of obligation, but because it felt good to do so. That's rare. Most thoughts are distractions. But the ones that calm us, the ones that center us, the ones we return to by choice, those are the ones that mean something. If she was thinking about you, it means you've become that kind of thought, the kind that brings stillness even in chaos. She may not say it loudly, but those words carry depth. It's a whisper of connection. It's her subconscious reaching for closeness and expression. When someone says they've been thinking about you, what they're really saying is, you matter to me even when you're not around. That kind of emotional gravity isn't created through grand gestures. It's built in the quiet consistency of your energy, how you speak, how you respond, how you show up when it counts. That's what makes someone unforgettable. You don't have to be perfect to be remembered. You have to be real, present, engaged. And when you are, your presence stays with people long after you've gone. That's the mark of real connection. So if she says she's been thinking about you, receive it with awareness, respond with presence. You don't need to overanalyze it. Just understand it. A quiet invitation into her emotional world, a world where you've already made a home, even if you didn't know it yet. You've been given space in her thoughts, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it, not by being loud, but by being true. Keep being that. Because real connection isn't made in noise, it's made in the moments that stay. When she says, "I love spending time with you," she's not just talking about the hours you've shared. She's revealing something far deeper, something emotional, something sacred. She's telling you that being with you brings her peace, not pressure, joy, not judgment, connection, not confusion. That phrase is not casual. It's an emotional mirror, showing you that your presence has become a place of comfort in her world. And that's rare, because time is the one thing no one can get back. When someone says they love spending it with you, they're saying you make life feel lighter. She's showing you her heart without needing dramatic declarations. She's not performing. She's expressing something genuine. You don't say you love time with someone unless that time feeds you in a way the world cannot. And if she's saying it to you, then you've become more than just a distraction. You've become a source of meaning, a presence she looks forward to, a connection she values not for what it gives her, but for how it makes her feel inside. When someone loves being around you, it's because you create space for them to be fully themselves. No masks, no roles, no pretending, just being. And that space is more valuable than anything else. It's healing, it's calming, it's rare. Most people feel drained by others. But if she leaves your presence feeling lighter, clearer, more whole, that's when she knows it's real. And when she tells you that, believe her. She's giving you feedback from her soul. It's easy to overlook these phrases, to hear them and smile without grasping the truth underneath. But this one carries weight. It's not about flattery. It's not just about having fun. It's about resonance. Her energy aligns with yours, and it creates a rhythm that feels safe. If someone loves spending time with you, it means you make them feel alive, not just entertained, seen, not just talked to, held, not just heard. This is where the deepest emotional bonds begin, not in grand moments, but in the comfort of shared presence. Time becomes the proof of connection. How two people exist together when nothing needs to be said, when no performance is needed, when the silence speaks more than words ever could. That's what she's really saying, that in your company she doesn't feel the need to be anywhere else. And that is the clearest sign of interest. Not the words themselves, but the safety and energy behind them. If she says she loves spending time with you, that's your cue. Not to chase, not to push, but to continue showing up with that same consistency, that same attentiveness, or that same depth. Because when someone finds joy in your presence, you're already halfway to something meaningful. All that's left is to protect it, nurture it, and never take it for granted. Connection like that is rare, and when it arrives, you don't force it, you honor it. Or when she says, "That reminds me of you," she's revealing something profound. She's telling you that your presence has created a pattern in her mind, an emotional signature that stays even when you're not there. You've become more than a moment. You've become a reference point, a symbol that connects her inner world to something outside of herself. That kind of association doesn't happen by accident. It forms when emotions leave an imprint, when experiences shared with you stir something so real, so impactful, that everyday things start to echo your presence. It means you've taken up space in her subconscious, not because you demanded it, but because you resonated with her truth. When someone connects a song, a place, a feeling, or a small moment back to you, it shows the mind has made you meaningful. It's not about being perfect. It's about being felt. You've become a part of how she experiences life. And when that happens, attraction grows into attachment. Interest deepens into connection. What once felt casual begins to feel important. These words come from emotional recognition. It's the mind's way of saying, you matter enough to be remembered. Most people pass through unnoticed, their presence barely touching the surface. But when you stay with someone long after the conversation ends, that's when something real begins. And when she tells you something reminded her of you, she's sharing a glimpse of her world, letting you know that you live in her thoughts without even trying. That kind of unforced presence is powerful. It speaks to emotional safety. People don't make connections like that with those who make them feel judged, small, or unseen. They make them with those who listen, who uplift, who see beyond the surface. If you've become someone whose name is silently written across her quiet moments, you're building a bond that exists even in absence. And in a world filled with noise, that kind of invisible connection speaks the loudest. This is where emotional gravity forms. The more she links you to the things that matter to her, the more you're embedded in her personal landscape. She starts to view the world through a lens that includes you. And if you're wise, you'll recognize that as a sign to lean in with care, not to push, not to overanalyze, but to honor the fact that you're beginning to mean something beyond the surface. You don't need to be someone else to be unforgettable. You just need to be present enough, real enough, and steady enough for someone to associate comfort, warmth, or joy with you. That's when phrases like this show up. That's when the world around her starts to reflect back pieces of who you are. When that happens, you're no longer just part of a conversation. You're part of her emotional reality. And that is where real connection lives. When she says, "I feel like I can be myself around you," she's not just sharing comfort, she's revealing trust. She's telling you that your presence gives her space to let go of the mask, to drop the performance, and to show up as the most honest version of herself. That kind of freedom is rare. In a world where people constantly shapeshift to fit expectations, to hear someone say they feel safe being real, that's a powerful reflection of the energy you bring into their life. It means you don't just attract attention, you create ease. You give permission for vulnerability without asking for it. This is the language of emotional security, and security is the foundation of every lasting connection. Not sparks, not games, not surface-level thrills, but safety. If a woman can tell you she feels like she can be herself, it means she doesn't fear your judgment. She doesn't feel the need to shrink or exaggerate. She doesn't feel like she has to impress you. That space you create, it makes you unforgettable. Not because of what you do, but because of how you make her feel in your presence. Most people don't realize how healing it is to be seen without being analyzed, to be heard without being fixed, to be loved without being compared. When someone feels like they can simply exist with you, they begin to associate you with peace. And peace is magnetic. It pulls stronger than desire. It reaches deeper than charm. It builds a connection that grows even in silence. When she says she can be herself, she's telling you her nervous system relaxes around you. She doesn't feel like she has to edit her thoughts or rehearse her reactions. She doesn't feel like she has to calculate how you'll respond. That kind of comfort, is emotional oxygen. People crave it without knowing how to ask for it. And when they find it, they hold on. Because it's not just about attraction anymore, it's about alignment. But here's what's critical. You must protect that space. The moment someone feels safe enough to show you their unfiltered self, you carry a responsibility to honor it, to not weaponize their vulnerability, to listen with presence, to respond with intention. Because the second that safety is broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. What makes you different is not how much attention you give. It's how much safety you create without demanding anything in return. That phrase is an invitation, not just to continue being who you are, but to recognize your impact. You've become a mirror that reflects back warmth, not pressure, curiosity, not criticism. When someone feels like they can be themselves with you, they're not just showing affection. They're handing you trust. Handle it with strength. Hold it with grace. Because that level of connection is never random. It's earned through energy, consistency, and the courage to be present. And once it's there, it changes everything.